On Connecticut's news station, a string of car break-ins in multiple towns, and now the search is on for those responsible.
And a Connecticut port stepping up in the wake of the Baltimore bridge collapse, how local officials are preparing in case the state is asked to help.
Plus, the Yukon men and women hoping for more good luck as they head off to the Sweet 16. We are checking in with both teams coming up.
Breaking news now on Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Bjorlo, and we begin with breaking news this hour.
Joe Lieberman, Connecticut's Democratic senator for 24 years and almost the vice president of the United States, has died at the age of 82.
His congressional colleagues calling it a complete surprise. He passed after complications from a fall, according to his family. He was back here in Connecticut speaking at Quinnipiac University, where students say he was in high spirits.
Now, Lieberman nearly made it to the White House running for vice president with Al Gore back in 2000, but perhaps his biggest imprint on American politics before leaving the Senate, Lieberman became an independent. He came close to joining the GOP ticket as John McCain's running mate.
And he helped start the No Labels to support those in Washington committed to bipartisan work. He's also led the group as they've made headlines calling for another option on this presidential ballot and researching to see if a third-party ticket could win the Electoral College. Reactions already pouring in. The family making a statement along with local and national political icons. Will have continuing coverage, so stay with us on air, online, and of course on our Fox 61 News app. In other news tonight, police departments across Connecticut are searching and a high alert tonight, knowing that a coordinated group of car vandals are still on the loose.
You know, the suspects have already hit nearly a half a dozen towns in just 3 days, hiding under the cover of darkness. Fox 61's Matt Karen is in Middletown to tell us about the efforts underway to hold someone accountable.
Well, catching these criminals can be a challenge. Not only do they conceal their identity, but they travel in various stolen vehicles under the cover of darkness. And even when they're caught in the act, police can't pursue them or engage in a high-speed chase because it's considered a victimless property crime.
They're just smashing the windows and taking anything that they can.
It's terrible.
I'm kind of not surprised.
A spree of smash and grabs across the state. A span of 3 days, at least 5 towns hit. Dozens of vehicles vandalized, from apartment complexes in Rocky Hill and Weathersfield to residential neighborhoods in Middletown.
We're coordinated with several other towns in attempting to identify who was responsible for this.
Police say they're all connected and likely perpetrated by juveniles or young adults.
Kids get away with everything today. When I was younger, I had a 9 o'clock curfew.
Dawn Olson told Fox 61 she's taking her own precautions.
Now we have new spotlights in our driveway to protect the cars and motion sensors.
But she can't believe how the neighborhood has changed.
I'm almost 70 years old, and believe me, the last thing I want to do is have to worry about people breaking in.
This surveillance video shows the vehicle used, a white BMW sedan. But police say it's likely stolen and not what the vandals are using today.
Usually we get 1 or 2 here and there, but not a spree like this.
Middletown resident Jennifer Newmaker told Fox 61 an increase in vehicle vandalism seems to be an annual event.
Usually once or twice throughout the year, there tends to be kind of specific instances like this where it's a group that comes in from another town. Thankfully, I have a garage, so that definitely helps. And just, I think for anyone just not leaving, any valuables in the car, making sure that it's locked.
Police in the Fairfield County town of Westport also just announced that they arrested an adult and 2 juveniles for car burglaries, but only because police were able to deploy stop sticks or those spike strips to disable the vehicle. The suspects then fled on foot and were ultimately found hiding in a swamp. Reporting in Middletown outside the police department, Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Matt, thank you. Turning now to a Fox 61 follow-up out of Hartford. The father of a 6-year-old who accidentally shot himself in the hand over the summer is now facing even more charges. Cameron West was originally arrested on risk of injury charges back in August. Now he is also charged with negligent storage and criminal possession of a firearm. West's son accidentally shot himself in the hand after finding a gun while playing outside his home on Martin Street. He was taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. 3 other kids were also in the home at the time this happened.
Reactions are pouring in now as a hospital buyout deal more than a year and a half in the making has finally gotten state approval.
Yeah, just 2 hours ago, the Office of Health Strategy announced they've come to an agreement with Yale Health and Prospect Medical, a necessary green light that could finalize the sale of these local hospitals.
Yeah, all 3 struggling to stay financially afloat post-pandemic with staffing challenges and inflation. The same reasons most hospitals in Connecticut were in the negative last year, and that's why the CT Hospital Association is telling us more of these buyouts should be expected.
Governor Lamont chiming in about this in the past hours, saying he knows this quote took a little time, but he is excited about some of the agreement clauses. For example, Yale would need to invest $6 million over the next 3 years. That's into mental health and addiction services at these sites.
And we just spoke with a Yale representative who said the process is far from complete. They are still trying to iron out several details with Prospect. And while they didn't tell us exactly what's still being worked out, one of their main concerns over the past year and a half has been cybersecurity. We're trying to find out where the numbers stand on this deal right now, but after Prospect Medical's out-of-date computer system was hacked in a major recent cyber attack, Yale had asked the state, along with Prospect, to step up and pay for major improvements before the sale happened. Well, as federal investigators work to find out what caused a cargo ship to crash into Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge, ports across the world are coming up with contingency plans, finding other places to redirect their vessels.
One of the ports opening its arms happens to be in New Haven. That's where we find Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc. Julia.
This is the kind of tragedy can happen almost anywhere.
Connecticut's Port Authority Director Ulysses Hammond watched in horror as the bridge in Baltimore collapsed on Tuesday, likely taking at least 6 lives.
Our thoughts are definitely with those families that have been affected, and in particular, those workers who were actually doing their jobs on the bridge at that time.
But now Hammond has to pivot that empathy into action because ships that can't get through the harbor in Baltimore are being diverted throughout the region. And the longer that goes on, Connecticut could be called upon.
Some of those calls have already been made with respect to our availability in New Haven in particular.
Hammond says New Haven's deepwater port is the second largest and busiest in New England, able to accommodate ships ranging from 20,000 to 40,000 tons.
We have capacity, and we are willing and ready to accommodate any way we can with respect to our assistance to Baltimore at this time.
And while Connecticut is prepping its ports, many who live here are curious about the safety of our bridges above them.
If there was anything that ever came out of a bridge inspection that was deemed critical, we would shut the bridge down and would not allow traffic over it.
Josh Morgan with the Connecticut Department of Transportation says the state has more than 5,500 bridges inspected every other year, and the state of the structures, he says, is getting better.
So in 2012, about 10% of the state's bridges were rated poor, and now we're about 5%.
And as the state works to repair those poorly rated bridges, Morgan says they're not a danger to drivers and are still deemed safe.
What happened in Baltimore was absolutely tragic, and I don't know if there's any infrastructure in the world that could withstand a 1,000-foot container ship, a massive ship hitting one of those critical support pieces of the bridge.
Now back out here at the harbor, Hammond says that if Connecticut is called upon, it likely wouldn't happen for weeks or even months from now. And the longer, he says, the port is closed in Baltimore, the more likely that would be, and vice versa. We are in New Haven. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Julia, thank you. Two former officials of a Massachusetts veterans home where dozens of people died in one of the nation's worst COVID-19 outbreaks in a long-term care facility have settled their criminal case with no jail time. It's unclear what the settlement entails for the former superintendent and medical director of the Holyoke Soldiers' Home, who are facing 5 counts of criminal neglect. Prosecutors called for 3 years probation, citing bad conditions and lack of staffing at the facility, but the defense argued it happened early in the pandemic when COVID-19 was poorly understood. In 2022, Massachusetts agreed to pay $56 million to settle a class action lawsuit brought by the families of the veterans who died.
Well, time now for a check on our forecast. It was a cloudy Wednesday, but get ready for more rain heading our way.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frayne joining us now with the talk about it. How much rain are we talking about here, Rach?
Deep sigh. 1 to 2 inches of rain this time around, and I think the heaviest will be in eastern Connecticut, which is why you'll see a flood watch in effect for Windham County. They have not yet issued it for anywhere else in Connecticut, but you'll see it's Windham County on east, where rivers, streams, creeks, low-lying areas, poor drainage areas are most at risk. Elsewhere, there could be some minor flooding issues, some big puddles out there, but hopefully we should kind of keep away any of those bigger issues that we've faced so many times going all the way back to summer with back-to-back heavy rain events. Taking a look, we have a few scattered showers out there, but nothing too heavy at the moment. Colchester, Hebron, Stores, all dealing with that wet weather right now, and you'll see some showers up here through New Hartford and Heartland. As we widen things out, you'll see a steady stream of showers that'll be heading this way, coming right up the East Coast. Low temperatures tonight will be dropping back into the 40s as we head towards daybreak. Any of those showers really filling in, becoming more steady and more widespread, and it is raining from start to finish tomorrow. Again, 1 to 2 inches possible. Temperatures up around 50 degrees as we head through the afternoon. That rain should end early on Friday morning, and then it'll turn breezy and cooler heading into Easter weekend. We'll take a closer look coming up.
Sweet 16 bound, the UConn women's basketball team headed to the next round of the NCAA tournament, leaving campus in style this afternoon.
That's right. Fox 61's Lindsay Kane has all the details from Stores.
It's the 30th consecutive Sweet 16 appearance for the UConn women's basketball team. The Huskies leaving in style with a huge fan base cheering them on. A sweet send-off to the Sweet 16.
It says, Paige, you're my hero.
I hope they can bring it all the way. I mean, that's the goal.
The Huskies heading to Portland, Oregon for the next round of the NCAA tournament. Fans lining up, letting the Huskies know they believe the team can have a real run at the championship title.
They lost to Ohio State last year, so they could definitely do it with Paige this year, and they have a lot of good freshmen this year.
For many students, March is the best time of the year in the basketball capital of the world.
I love UConn women's basketball. I actually started a club here just for fans of women's basketball, so it's like my favorite thing about UConn.
Some fans have been supporting the Huskies during their last 30 consecutive Sweet 16 appearances, hoping this year the women make it to the Elite 8.
This is a really pleasant team to watch. Every win's a gift, and they're giving a lot.
As the team prepares for game day, the littlest Huskies fans are dreaming of being in the same shoes one day.
So do you want to be a Husky one day?
Yes, for sure.
The Huskies take on Duke. That's this Saturday night at 8 p.m. Of course, we're rooting for our Huskies and hope to see them make it on to the Elite 8. In Stores, Lindsay Kane, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We are all definitely rooting for the Huskies. Lindsay, thank you so much. And the UConn also is going to the Sweet 16. Fox 61 Sports Director Jonah Carpa following the men's team and has a preview of tomorrow's game live from Boston. That's coming up at 6:30.